Nice.
They are two small countries, but they offer countless impressions and experiences. Cambodia and Laos, places full of spirituality, history and breathtaking beauty. Join me on a journey from Angkor Wat to Luang Prabang, past some of the ancient temples, through the captivating natural beauty of Indochina. Believe me, it's worth it. Hello and thanks for stopping by again. As always, I would appreciate a like and a sub to the channel. As you may know from the previous video, this is a 3-part video series about my trip through Southeast Asia. The first part was about Cambodia, and this part will be about Laos. If you're interested in behind the scenes material, the planning of the entire trip, and my stopovers in Qatar and in Thailand, I would recommend watching the third part of this series. In short, I didn't fly directly to Laos, but via Qatar and Thailand, then to Cambodia and from there on to Laos, where we start this video. This time I flew with Vietnam Airlines and, contrary to my fears as with the previous flight, there were no problems at all with the weight of my luggage and everything went smoothly. Even on this short flight, drinks and food were served again. Although I've already filled out the digital immigration form in advance, I had to fill it out again by hand upon arrival, but maybe that was because I wanted to get this great sticker with the visa on arrival. Well, everything worked out in the end.
This is my transfer to the hotel in Laos. Pretty cool.
It was good that the drive to the hotel wasn't that long, because it wasn't exactly comfortable. I checked into the Madilao hotel for just under 35 euros a night. I have to say that the hotel is pretty basic, but it has everything you need. In terms of location, it's actually quite far out near the airport and not close to the city center. Looking back, I have to say that I probably would have liked it better in the city center because there's a lot to do there, but the hotel itself offers everything you need, including a nice pool, and the service was excellent. Through the hotel, I booked a driver for the next day for a good $40. I could certainly have found a cheaper option, but this way I had the comfort of a brand new Chinese electric vehicle, which was a real advantage given the road conditions. Seriously, as soon as you leave Luang Prabang, the road becomes one of the worst I've ever experienced, and that's despite it being the main route to one of the most beautiful attractions in the area. Once there, I bought my tickets. There are always two prices, one for the locals and one for the tourists. But honestly, at $2.50, who is going to complain? We took a electric vehicle up the mountain to the park entrance. The beer station at the entrance is a nice gimmick and doesn't cost anything extra. You can leave donations or buy merchandise, but of course that's not a must. I only saw 2 beers, but I was mainly there for the waterfalls and they are absolutely majestic. And that starts with the smaller offshoots of the waterfall that flow down to the entrance, and you haven't seen the big one yet. I can tell you, when you stand in front of this enormous waterfall, you're going to be overwhelmed. Pictures and videos can't really capture it, because these are emotions that you will feel. But I tried it anyway, and I hope you like them.
This waterfall is one of the most majestic things I've ever seen in my life. Totally worth coming here. 100% recommend. I'm now climbing the stairs up to the viewpoint, and goddamn, you better be fit when you do this.
Even though the climb is quite demanding, the viewing platform, The View, is pretty cool and for just under $1.50 admission, dirt cheap. For $25 you can use the zipline, and there's also a cafe up there with reasonable prices for the thirsty ones.
So after 542 steps, the sign said that I burned 93 kilocalories, but I don't believe that. That must have been more. And I guess I sweated out like 1 or 2 liters. The view is nice up there, but you can only see the hills and the valley, not the waterfall itself. Therefore, you gotta bring a drone.
After spending a good 4 or 4.5 hours at the waterfall, we headed back to Luang Prabang, but on the way we stopped at a few cool places. Even though I love elephants, I have to say that I didn't really like this elephant camp at all, because I had the impression that the animals were in a relatively poor condition, not treated very well, and all chained up. So after taking a few pictures, I quickly made my escape. There are temples and pagodas everywhere along the way, and if you're interested, you can just stop, get out and take a look. We would have stopped at the buffalo farm, but since they charged a relatively high entrance fee and I wasn't interested, we drove on. But the next stop, however, really interested me. The Ricefield-Cafes. As you can see, I took out my drone there and got some really nice aerial shots. I have to say that the food and drinks there were a bit more expensive, but the fried rice and the large 0.75 liter beer tasted pretty good. and now a few words on the subject of money and currency, because I have to correct a statement I made in my previous Cambodia video. I thought in Laos you can pay with US dollars as well without problems, but they want their local currency. So I got to a juwelier's shop and they gave me a pretty good exchange rate, and with currently $46, you're a millionaire here. I wish I had one more day in Laos, because then I could have had a better look at the old city center of Luang Prabang, which I think has a lot to offer with its colonial style. But what isn't yet can still become, and in any case, I wanted to see Phousi Hill. It's a location that's pretty hyped, especially at sunset.
So much stairs today, why? Why? So many stairs.
When I was up there it was early afternoon, and to be honest the view isn't that special, but in the evening there was a pretty awesome sunset and I would have liked to have been up there at the time. But of course you have to say that it's gonna be pretty packed up there then. My day trip ended with a visit at Wat Xieng Thong, a very well-known Buddhist temple in Luang Prabang, and at just under $1.50 admission it was well worth seeing. After this exhausting day, I had a peaceful night and spent the next morning by the pool before heading back to the airport for my connection flight to Bangkok. I flew back again with Bangkok Airways, and I have to say that, contrary to all the scaremongering I read on the internet during my research about Asian airlines being either unpunctual or causing huge problems with luggage, I had no problems at all. In general, I have to admit that I was quite apprehensive about this trip, as it involved 7 flights and a lot of transfers, but I have to say that it was extremely relaxed and I'm so glad that I did it. I understand that my way of traveling isn't for everyone, but you can plan it differently. What I can say in any case is that the natural beauty of Laos and the cultural monuments of Cambodia were worth every effort and every penny. I'm glad you joined me on my trip. See you soon.